Alright, we last left off the party with y'all being in a clearing in the wildlands. You found a fog walker trapped under a burning tree. All of you thought this was a very odd occurrence, but you approached the fog walker, and while trying to figure out what you wanted to do with it, y'all realized something was off. Within seconds, 3 of you were on the ground, being darted with some sort of poison dart. But Sanzel got away, temporarily, before he was stabbed and met the same fate. Y'all all faded off into unconsciousness. During this unconsciousness, you have another series of dreams. Buru. Can you all see relatively?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And Buru, your
Buru's
character
first
should
dream.
have... Huh?
Buru's first dream.
Yep.
Aw.
Buru awakes to find himself in an odd clearing next to this cove area. You see steps leading towards this pond. Do you approach the pond?
Absolutely.
As you approach the steps and get towards the edge of... I'd say it's kind of like a pier. You see a figure, what looks to be a blue dragonborn, on the other side. And he's staring at you with intense amber eyes. He doesn't speak.
Buru will just kind of look around awkwardly for a second and wave. Greetings.
You hear this... It's almost like it echoes on its own 2 to 3 times afterwards. Hello, traveler.
Buru's gonna blink a couple times and look around again like, what the hell's going on?
Welcome to the ruins of the Dryads. You have entered my home.
I'm sorry?
You see his stoicness crack for a second as he gives the slightest just like smile, and he'll say, not only did you like fluster him, you flustered the DM too. I'm like, what would he say to that? He'll give a small grin and say, my name is Rordor. I believe your people have worshipped me for some time.
Buru will just, his eyes will go wide and will immediately just kind of bow his head. Like, yes, for quite a while. Hello? Like, no one prepared him for anything like this.
I just imagine you're gonna get out of this dream. Everybody's gonna be talking about these dreams that they had with other gods, and you're gonna be like, wait, y'all do this on the regular?
You didn't tell me this!
This wasn't in the job description? This wasn't in the hire packet?
It's in the fine print. You forgot to read that.
You didn't give me any fine print!
At least we get benefits.
The benefits of hopefully not dying.
Wait, y'all get benefits?
What benefits?
Y'all are getting paid?
What benefits did I sign?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, paid in trauma.
You're not wrong. Rordor will look at you and say, traveler, you are searching for a home for your people within the depths of the wildlands. Correct?
Yes, or beyond, if the surface is, as Hawkeye has said, possibly home there.
The surface interests you.
Might be safer for my people than with the followers of Zerith. Zestrix, damn it.
Perhaps. You might find refuge in the wildlands. You might find refuge on the surface. I will not tell you which path to go on. But I will say that I thank you for you and your people's loyal service, and I will be watching over you as best I can.
Thank you. And my people as well?
Of course. They have served me well for many years, even outside of Asterix reign.
You... there's been a lot of talk of Zastrix and her evils. Are you friends with Zastrix?
Friends is not the term I would use. We are not enemies. I am not one of the gods foolish enough to make enemies with another. But we are not friends. I do not agree with her methods.
Okay. Not allies then. But not enemies. Okay.
Why? Why do you ask?
There's talk of potentially civil war against her. Would you aid us if we got stuck in the middle?
What is the purpose of your civil war? What do you hope to accomplish?
That I'm not sure. My new comrade, he's been speaking of it. I've not talked to him much about it.
The idea of a civil war is quite amusing. There has not been war since, well, several hundred years ago. I will think of your civil war. If I do not get back to you before your civil war starts, summon me. I believe one of the others has given you means to do so. I would safely assume that Hawkeye has probably talked about this book of invoking.
Oh, okay.
And if not, I'm sure when Buru brings it up, he'll be told.
Okay. I forgot about that book. Buru will nod his head. Of course. Yes, I will. Yes. Buru is panicking right now.
Rodor will give you a almost sympathetic smile, and he'll take a step towards the pond and dip his hand into it, and you see a trail of light go through the pond towards your side of it, and you see this tiny little salamander crawl out, and it crawls towards you, and unless you try to shake it away, it'll crawl up your leg and get to the point where it's on your shoulder. And Rodor will speak and say, "This is one of consider it a boon. If you come into harsh times, you may use this once.
What?
It will provide you assistance in whatever situation you might be in. It will adapt to your situation."
Will he hang around me until I need to use him?
Yes. He will not leave your side unless taken forcefully.
A friend. Thank you.
Of course. Loyalty is met with favors. And
Do you talk to other turtles like this? Is this normal?
I have spoken to past kings, royalty of your people. It is not uncommon of me to speak to the leaders of your people, but I have not done so in quite some time. You are
Oh,
probably the first in the last 100 years.
well, I thank you for the honor.
He'll give you a small nod of recognition. Have you any questions for me?
I can't really think too straight right now. So at the moment, no.
He'll give a nod and say, well, as I said, you have means of contacting me. But for now, our time grows short. Might I mention, before this dream fades, you roll me an insight or perception with advantage.
Okay. Well,
It's good enough. Trust me, it is good enough. As Buru, as you're talking to Rordor, it doesn't click at first. Like, it probably takes until he's about to dismiss you for it to click in your head. But the realization comes to you of, I'm not using my dark vision. And you look up, and you've heard tales of the moon, but this is the first time you've seen actual light that didn't come from something that's like bioluminescent. You look up and you see the moon.
I've heard the tales of the moon.
Yes, it would be in books, and it's something that the underground knows exists on the surface in legends.
Is that the moon?
Yes,
So beautiful.
yes, it is.
Where are we?
As I said, we are in the ruins of the Dryads. It is a shrine dedicated to me on the surface.
This is the surface.
And secondary illusion of it, but yes, this is a real place that you could visit.
I'll have to try to.
I'll look forward to it. And if you have nothing else to say, he'll give you, again, another nod of acknowledgement and say, farewell, traveler.
Buru will do the best bow he can.
He'll give a nod of acceptance and the dream will fade. Zerithan,
Oh, jeez.
Oh no.
you find yourself, you awake, and you find yourself, for once, in what you can only imagine is what Hawkeye feels like. Your vision is short, but not the way in Hawkeye's is where y'all live. It's bright, blindingly so, and you're on a cliffside with ragged stone stairs leading upwards. If you look down, there's nothing but sheer downward death.
God. Okay. Could I don't know, make a constitution check or something to strain my vision a bit and see if I can actually make out anything more than just the immediate surroundings?
Sure. You'll need to make it with disadvantage since you've never actually been around sunlight.
Okay. Saving throw? No, ability check.
Yeah.
That's an 8, that's a 9. Its constitution is not high.
I'll say you're able to strain 5 more feet. So give me 1 second.
Okay. Because as of right now, I don't see these stairs. I just see rocks.
Well, those rocks are the stairs.
Those are the stairs.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I just want to state that Zerith has no idea what's going on. Like he would not put two and two together. This is like supposed to be a surface.
Yeah.
You know, he'd just be like, "Why the fuck is it so bright?"
Because you have never experienced something like this before.
Honestly, his thought process would be like, "What is giving off so much bioluminescence?"
As you walk up the stairs, you get to the point where the stairs, they're not just carved out raw stone. They become more polished, but they're also chipped and ragged, almost like either they've been worn away by the ages or they've been worn away by combat.
He's thinking hard to himself right now. Like he doesn't think that he's in a dream. He's really just kind of being like, where the hell did those people take us? Or is this the afterlife? Because as far as he knows, he's dead.
Yeah.
Guess I will go upstairs.
Are you stuck?
Oh, I forgot about the west.
No. Yeah, the west. So it's like a building?
Yeah. As you enter, it looks like a temple with an open door, and you see a rug under your feet. It opens to a more, like, those things right there. They're stairs leading up to a
Maybe like a third.
Kind of like an altar. Yeah, it leads up to an altar. Think of like a church pulpit, how it's typically higher than yeah. It's a lot like that. It leads up to an altar that you can't quite see from your position, but it's there. And you hear a voice call out to you. Now, what did they call out to you?
No, what do they call it? To me?
You've had such a rough time, haven't you?
As soon as he hears the voice, he's gonna reach for Whisper. Is it still there?
Oh yeah, your weapon's still there.
He's gonna grab the handle and kind of take a defensive position because he still can't see. He's still blind as shit. So he's just gonna like look around frantically and be like, "What the hell did you do to me and my friends?"
Roll me another Constitution save. This time without disadvantage. Save or check, whichever one you did the first time.
It's the same either or. So boop.
Okay. Your vision is still strained, but now that you are indoors, it lengthens.
Oh god.
You blink a couple times, and your vision now encompasses a woman with black wings. Goodness gracious.
I mean,
She is! I know she is! You see a woman with jet black hair and wings that glow with what looks like bits of starlight. You wouldn't know it's starlight, but it looks like they're glowing, like glittering.
As I see her, I'm not gonna let my guard down, but I'm gonna like feign a bit of a smile, and I'm going to say, "You know, for kidnappers and barbarians, you're not too bad looking."
Mind your tongue, overseer.
Can I make like a check or something here? Can I figure out who the fuck this is?
You can.
Do I recognize
No.
her?
Well, roll me a history check. And Dylan, I have a question for you before you roll that.
Yeah.
How much have you told Zerithan about the surface gods? Would you have described
kinda
their visage to him?
I believe so. He would have been like basic, like, oh, this is what the god looks like, and this is what they represent.
Okay, then you can roll that with advantage.
2 nat ones, baby.
Oh
No,
my God.
you are so
That
you are so enthralled by this woman's stunning appearance that her beauty makes your memory fade. You have no idea who this lady is. She's just standing there. She was standing there very rather elegantly at first, but when you said that in kind of I would say she probably took it as a threatening tone. She shifted from looking all elegant and, like, for lack of a better word, glamorous, to looking very hot-headed, and she now has a hand on her hip and is standing in a more aggressive position.
Does she look like an immediate danger?
She has no weapons on her that you can see.
In that case, he'll slide the little bit of whisper that he pulled out of its sheath back in and take a less like hostile stance.
She'll take note of that and say, "Are you done with your display of dominance?"
I wouldn't really call it dominance, but yeah, you can say that. Who are you, and what have you done to me?
I have done nothing to you. Not as of yet.
Was it your people then? Did they lead me here? And what's this creature that's giving off all this light?
My name is Anir. I'm the goddess of night and day.
Zerith just gets this look of, oh god, another one across his face. Does more click with me? Like what Hawkeye's told me? Like, does that come back whenever she says Anir?
I'd probably say so, but if you want to make it fun, you can roll the history check again with advantage.
2 nat 20s, baby.
Just gotta say it.
2
Oh,
11s,
double
goodness
11.
gracious. That's a lot better.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'd say it jog your memory enough of, like, oh, yeah, Hawkeye has definitely explained this before, and it's very much of a, how did I not recognize this to begin with?
In that case, he'll grimace a bit and be like, I see. Forgive me for what I said. I had no idea it was in the presence of another deity. But I must ask, why do you call me here? If you mean to aid me, I'm sure you've seen what happened to me and my friends. Then I will gladly take it, whatever the cost is.
I am merely here to offer you guidance. To answer any questions you might seek about the surface if I deem them fit to answer. Others of my people have requested our assistance in helping you survive.
Others of your people.
My brothers and sisters in this godly path. Uros and Rudos specifically have spoken on y'all's behalf, saying that you are worth the risk of challenging Asterix.
Well, that's comforting. But I hate to say it, I don't really have any questions for you. I'd love to rattle your brain at some point, but at this current point in time, I'm much more concerned about my allies.
There's
We're dead.
none of you are dead. Well, none of your current party members are dead.
He doesn't catch what that means until like a second later, and he just goes, oh, rest in peace.
She'll give you... This is the first time you've seen her look anything but dominant or angry, but it'll fade from her face when she sees the look of what I can only imagine is kind of like remorse.
Remorse and regret.
Yeah.
Like it has to be regret.
She the anger will fade from her eyes and she'll say, We are trying our best to look after you and your friends. While we are gods, we are not all powerful. We all have weaknesses, and our powers only stretch so far. We are doing our best, and we will continue to do so, which is why I called you here. I called you here so you could see what actual light looks like. So perhaps you could see hope.
He furrows his brow at that, and he just says, "What do you mean by that? What do you mean by actual light?"
You've grown up in Layath, have you not?
It's true.
Then you have grown up with the Overseers as well, correct?
Yes. What are you getting at?
Meaning you have been taught that the only light that is acceptable, the only light that is true, is Asterix. But once you're on the surface, there's no condition that you need to meet with Asterix in order to see the light. It's all around you. There is no god here that is seeking for your attention. We call to you because we want your attention, not because we need it.
So you mean to say that Asterix does require?
Asterix desires it much more strongly than the rest of us. Don't get me wrong, all of us want the attentions of mortals. It helps us, it feeds our power, but
She's a lot more parasitic.
yes, she requires much more than the most of us do. The vast majority of us take offerings, sure, but not in the way of people. Not even Eos takes people.
Then can she even really truly be considered a god if she relies on man so much?
I will put it this way. You do not have to be born a god to become one. We don't know where she came from. She wasn't there, and then she was. She has immense power, but we have no details on where she got it. Her origins are unknown. Her weaknesses are unknown. We don't know anything about her other than that she has tormented you and your friends and your people for hundreds, if not thousands of years. But
Then you
but we
Go
can
on.
no longer stand for it. There are those of us that wish to aid you in your plight of trying to take her down.
I'll accept any aid I can from you or any other deity. But I have to ask. Not just from you, but from every other god known to you. If you help, and if Asterix is slain, how do I know none of you will return to what she is? And how do I know that another doesn't appear? If she came from nowhere, then it must be possible for another to take her place.
There is no guarantee. I will not lie to you and tell you that none of us seek personal power. But I will tell you that myself, Rudos, us three, the three that have been trying to help you from basically the beginning, none of us seek that sort of personal power.
Well, that's good enough for me. But how do you plan on aiding us?
That is all up to you. My reach to aid you is very limited at the time, due to the fact that you are not in my jurisdiction, if you will. I have the ability to influence people who can see the sun, who can feel it, who can look up into the night sky and see the moon and the stars. That is my abode.
Then you really can aid us, though. As far as I know, there are thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, of surface dwellers trapped in the Underdark right now. If you can aid me by gaining their companionship, by gaining their trust, then that will be more than enough. I obviously can't have a revolution without people.
That is fair. If that is what you seek from me, then that is what I will do. I will seek out the surface dwellers, visit them in dreams and visions, and try to sway them to your side, so that you might have somewhat of an army when you return to your people.
Very well. That'll be appreciated. And very, very much useful. I do have one other question for you.
Then speak.
Do you or any of the gods you know have any ties with the afterlife?
If we have ties to what now?
Ties with
The
the
afterlife?
afterlife.
Give me just 1 second. She'll look at you curiously and say, well, Itar and Lunos would be the gods you would want to talk to. The gods of the underworld and of death.
Was there any way you could deliver a message to them?
I can arrange that. What is your message?
Not too long ago, a small Kenku would have joined their ranks. He was a little, dressed in rags, gray feathers. He was known as a Jifflet. He was a bard. I want him to know that none of us have forgotten. And I want him to know that I will personally see him avenged.
She'll nod thoughtfully and say, yes, I can give that message along. Of course.
He's gonna like look around awkwardly for a moment and be like, so do I see myself out, or do I just fade, or I'm still not used to this, so usually they just flick me out of their domain.
She'll smile and say, you have shown me very little disrespect. I will not show you the same. Like, basically, she's like, you haven't disrespected me, so I'm not going to disrespect you. And she'll just say, have peaceful rest. You're going to need it to face your captors.
Ain't that the truth?
And when she says that, she'll give a gentle wave of her hand, and the dream will just peacefully fade. Hawkeye!
All right.
I love the idea of just Zerith then appearing on rocks, looking up at the sun, being like,
What the fuck is that monster?
"There's a fucking giant monster up there."
Oh god, it's so bright. I don't like it.
Okay, look at this.
Goodness gracious. Hawkeye,
Mm-hmm.
you awake to find a very familiar sight. A warm sight that you haven't seen in ages. You awake to see the Cove of Light, which you know well as Rudos's home. And he awaits you towards the edge of the cove. And before you act or talk, you notice that there's a faint sunlight illuminating the pool. It's the first time you've seen sunlight since you've been kidnapped.
Hawkeye's gonna put a hand to his mouth, and he's gonna start tearing up a little bit and say, "It's so beautiful. It's been so long."
Rudis will outstretch his hand to you and say, "It's been too long."
Hawkeye's gonna turn his gaze to him, Rudos, and say, "Oh, if it isn't Rudos the Riddle Master."
He'll chuckle. I have sent you on quite the chase, haven't I?
You can definitely say that.
My deepest apologies for putting you through so much torment. It was never my intention for any of this to happen.
My family, how did they get down here?
They were split up and taken under my watch. The others I'm still guarding, as I should be. But they got split up with us during a flash of darkness.
What do you mean a flash of darkness? Aren't gods supposed to be powerful to stop something like this from happening?
He'll look conflicted. And hurt. He'll furrow his brow and put his hand up to his face and mutter through his hand, saying, "It's very easy to criticize when you don't know the full scope of things. It is not easy for a god to fight another god."
Hawkeye's gonna whisper to himself, "God fighting another god. It's not Zaxtrix you're fighting, is it?"
Asterix's reach has been growing. It's frightening how quickly her power is growing. It's the only explanation, unless she's recruited Itar. It's the only other explanation as to where she would be getting such darkness that I and none of the others can pierce.
Well, I'm sorry for doubting your power. I obviously have no idea what's going on with the surface world as of the moment. It's been I've had a very busy journey underneath the surface.
Yes, so you have. He'll sit you down and ask you to regale him with the whole tale if you oblige.
I do.
Okay. He'll be deep in thought. He'll ponder it for a bit. And then say, "Last time I heard from... Last time a message was given to me on your behalf, you asked for answers, goodness gracious, answers on the riddle that I gave you."
Yes. I figured Jiffles was the best middleman, so to speak.
Do you have any idea what the answer might be?
Not at this point right now. My thoughts are clouded. I'm conflicted. I recently had to say goodbye to my children, and I saw a comrade that I cared deeply about die, sacrificing himself.
He'll look pained at the first part of you having to let go of your children, but when you bring up Jiffles, he'll give you a warm smile. He'll say, I can't give you answers to the riddle. It is important for you to figure it out on your own, no matter how long or how difficult the journey is. But I can give you something else that might bring you a little bit of comfort. And you hear a voice behind you that you haven't heard for quite some time now.
I thought you would have been happier to see him.
Hawkeye's just kind of like, Jiffles, you're okay.
Hello, friend. So good to see you again.
Likewise. There's so much to tell you. We found my kids, and they're doing okay.
Oh,
We met a-
amazing.
You would have liked Radar. He's a musician like you. He would play
Really?
really good music.
You met them in the underground.
Yes, they were taken from the surface.
Sounds like things are getting crazier.
You can definitely say that.
Tell me, did I kill that man?
Hawkeye his smile kind of drops. Says no.
Damn.
Barely, he clung to life, but you almost had him.
So close.
Hawkeye's just kind of, he's gonna sit there. He's looking between Jiffles and Rudos. He doesn't know what to say. He's just,
I'm just gonna waddle over and just like pat your back.
oh,
Things are a little crazy, yeah.
mm-hmm.
Did you get a chance to read that information? The papers I gave you.
Yes, the little journal scraps you gave me.
Yes. I also sent that to, Ula. To warn them. So, they should hopefully be safe as well as Kai.
Right. I'm sorry you had to sacrifice yourself. If I had more power, if I could have done something differently, I would have in a heartbeat.
Just kind of shrugs a little.
Who's, supposed to wind up on the astral plane, or on the, fire plane. But, Rudos caught me, I suppose. And now I'm here.
Hawkeye's gonna turn to Rudis and say, "You actually helped."
He's gonna look mildly offended at that.
I mean no offense. I'm just you.
What they all say.
I'm just more surprised you heard my prayers. That Jiffles passed on peacefully.
I'm not dead.
He is indeed not dead, Hawkeye.
What? Like
Ooh, plot twist.
what?
And Rudos at that point,
Tell anyone about the Phoenix thing.
yeah. He'll extend his hand to you and say, extend his hand to you. He'll put his hand on your shoulder, and he'll say, I don't know if you saw, but Jiffles was holding an item quite like this one. And he'll pull out a duplicate of the Phoenix Circlet that you probably, more likely than not, saw Jiffles holding when he died in that explosion. And Rudos will say, this item allows the wearer to sacrifice their current physical body to save or whatever they're doing at the time. In your case, it was to save the rest of you from that thing that was attacking you.
It's a fitting word.
It allows them to burst into a bright ball of fire. But afterwards, their spirit is transported to the astral, well, more specifically to the fire plane, where a new body is reconstructed and they are reborn. But on the way, I knew I couldn't let him be subjected to the horrors on the fire plane, so I used what powers I had to grab his soul before it reached the fire plane and pull him here. So his physical body has reformed, but unfortunately for the time being, his physical form and his spirit is stuck here with me.
Hawk is gonna be at a loss for words. He just, all of this just kind of dumped in his lap. He's like, I should never have doubted you. In all my years, I should have never have even let an inkling of doubt enter my mind.
I hope this just brings more evidence and proof to the fact that I have not abandoned you.
It does.
I never wanted you to think, not even after you were kidnapped, that I had left you to die. My reach to where you are now is very limited. But you're growing ever closer, and my reach is getting stronger. That's why I was able to contact you today.
I see. Hawkeye's just kind of sitting in a kind of meditative kind of like state. He's like cross legs, just thinking,
Just will just sit next to you.
Hawkeye's gonna give like a big hug to Jiffles, because I don't think like Hawkeye's ever given a hug to Jiffles, so he's like, I should have done this sooner. Wraps his arms around you and just gives you a big dad hug.
Just will hug back.
Rudos is very pleased that his two children are getting along.
Yeah.
Let's see. Rudos will look at both of you and smile, and then at you again, Hawkeye, and say, the answer to the riddle is quite literally right in front of you when you wake up. Quite literally and figuratively. But that is...
You know that kind of meme with like all the numbers going around? That's him going like...
Just like...
In Hawkeye's head is kind of going with like the dial-up tone, like a boo-doo-doo. The dial you have number has been reached.
I can't. Why did I think when you were just like, it's all the numbers, I was just like the Twilight Zone music. Do 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 do.
You're fucking Christ.
I just want you to wake up like face down and just looking at the dirt and being extra confused, like he said right in front of me.
Wait a second. Dirt's the answer. Jar of dirt.
He'll look quite thoroughly amused at the confusion on your face, but he doesn't elaborate further. Yeah, he really doesn't elaborate further. He kind of just stands there and waits to see if you ask him any questions, which is my way of saying if you have any questions for him or Jiffles, go for it. If not, we'll move on.
Hawkeye's just kind of like, he's gonna stand up and brush his legs off and say, and bow to Bruce and say, thank you for helping us, even though I took you for granted.
You have never taken me for granted. I am here to serve you just as much as you are here to serve me.
I love
Space
And,
Dad for the win.
They say coming in clutch. Thank you, Father. And then Hawkeye's gonna turn to Jiffles and say, well, I hope to see you soon. I'll tell Zerith and Sanzel all about you.
Good, good. Tell them I'm all right.
And
Oh,
Buru.
what is it? Buru?
He's our guy. He's a giant turtle.
Oh,
I think you would like him. But he can never replace you. You're the music man.
no instruments now. They got burnt up. But no, I can get new ones eventually. It's fine.
I'm gonna.
I am my own instrument.
Hawkeye's gonna look to Rudos and ask, "Could you not give him his bagpipes?"
Rudos will look mildly disturbed and say, I am unable to retrieve his original items, and I am in the works of trying to find more.
That's
I'll play you
good.
music, Rudos.
What?
I'll play you music, Rudos.
I would thoroughly enjoy that, child.
I know it's not true, but I've always kind of had this headcanon that like Jiffles actually isn't good at bagpipes. Everybody like humors him. So it's just like the worst god awful noise you can imagine, and everyone's just like, yeah, it's so exquisite.
You have to have exquisite taste to understand this music.
You gotta have a high IQ to understand the subtleties of this music.
I mean, that would make sense why, like, the absolute, like, upper class shit of this country enjoys the music.
No, he's a good bard.
He is a good bard. We're just kidding.
What?
Hawkeye's just going to. Hawkeye's going to give Jiffles another hug, and he'll say, "I'll see you later, my friend."
Of course.
We will await
Stay
the
safe.
next. Oh, sorry.
It's okay. That afterwards.
After Jiffles says his goodbye, Rudos will smile and gesture to Jiffles and say, "We will be waiting for you." And as I said, until I can find a way to untether his body and soul from this place, he must stay here. Which means you can safely return to see him.
Good.
And with that, Rudos will say, "Pleasant travels and safety to you, my child."
Thank you.
And he'll pat your shoulder, and then the dream will fade. You all then spend several hours peacefully sleeping. None of your dreams were incredibly, like, horrific like they normally are. So you're
Yay.
able to finish off your dreams relatively unscathed. However, you awake in less than ideal circumstances. You awake in prison, or what you can best see as prison. Each of you can only see what is in your cell and the people who are across from you.
Hawkeye immediately like thinks back to what Rudo said. He says he's thinking the answer is literally and figuratively in front of me. And so he just sees like the cell bars.
No. Wait. I'm legit gonna give you a chance to figure this out. You awake with your back to the cell, so you awake with your face to the wall. Make me. I don't care which, wisdom or intelligence check.
Oh my god. This is
Do it.
oh wisdom.
I
Don't
believe
fail me now.
Blessing of Jiffles.
Wisdom is the highest. It's like one of my highest stats.
Hey, okay, that's not bad. I'm not gonna tell you the answer outright, but I will tell you like I'll tell you the basic thing. You awake, and the first thing you're met with is just absolute pure darkness. And how much of this do I want to give you? What? Let's see. What type of just think about this for me. What type of weapons are useless in the dark, but more ideal in the dark? And that's all I'm gonna give you. So ponder that. You flip over and you flip over. You flip over and you see the cell bars. Okay, continue with y'all's roleplay.
Hawkeye's just thinking, is it sight, hearing? He's gonna literally like audibly say just fuck.
I'm going to shout for him because I can see him. He's like right across from me.
Yep.
I'm going to shout towards him and I'm just going to say, "What are you muttering about?"
Oh, Zerith, you're here too. Good.
Yeah, we're all here.
So, fun fact, I met up with Rudos in my dreams.
Oh, yeah.
Shocking.
They
Jiffles,
seem to be-
Jiffles showed up.
What do you mean Jiffles showed up? Like, you saw a spirit?
Like, yes, his spirit was there, and he's not dead.
What do you mean he's not dead? We watched him die.
So the Phoenix bracelet that he had, it gives him the ability to come back to life after being sent to the astral plane. But Rudos grabbed him, and they're waiting for his body to reform, so to speak.
Zerathan is just completely speechless, and he just mutters to himself, "Oh my god, he's gonna get the most confusing message ever."
Wait,
Yeah,
what
he is.
What message did you leave?
Don't worry about it. Do either one of you, and I'm not. Before I say, actually, no. Let me retcon. Don't worry about it. Have you seen Buru? Do you know where he's at?
Let's see. Me being the surface dweller, my eyesight is what you would call shit, so I can only
Okay,
you.
smartass.
We're just gonna speak up. Did I miss the part where we talked about gods?
I love it.
I'm gonna. Can I discern what like cage he's in?
Yeah. I mean, he's legit like right next to you. You'd be able to hear where he's coming from.
I kind of like stick like I'm up against the bars with my face kind of smudged against the iron.
Okay.
And I'm just like, I mean, no.
No
Where
one
you
told
at?
me I was gonna meet a god. I think I'm right
Oh,
next to you.
yeah, that happens with us.
What the fuck?
Who'd
Well-
you meet?
His name was Rordor.
Rordor. I meant Rordor!
Oh, that's a new one.
Y'all should all. I'd say all of y'all. It's been recent enough that all of you would at least remember that the turtles brought him up when they blessed you for leaving.
Isn't that your god? Like, isn't that the one
Yes!
that people worship?
Yes, it is!
So this is a good thing.
Why did he meet me? I'm
Well,
not
never-
good with meeting important people.
What? You've never met a god before?
No!
Wait, Zerith, how many gods have you met so far?
Zerith like pulls back from the gate a bit and starts counting on his fingers.
Let's
3? Yeah, 3 now.
I think we're in the same boat. I met 3 as well.
Oh,
goodness
shit.
gracious. Are y'all competing now?
No, we're just being stupid because Buru's freaking out.
I love it. Y'all are just like, yeah, we're just veterans at this point. And Buru's like,
You get used to it.
while
gonna-
y'all are fangirling over this, can all of y'all roll me
Fangirl, like,
perception?
panicking.
I wanna call out something as I'm making this roll. I just wanna be like, who'd you meet this time, Sanzel?
Okay. Oh, wait. Okay, roll yours with advantage then.
Oh, okay.
I guess I'll do normal.
Both of them are shit, but it's an 18.
Did I roll?
Yeah, I want all of you
What
to
are we
roll.
rolling?
Perception.
Oh, okay.
Excuse me.
With advantage or disadvantage?
Neither. Just normal.
Oh, okay. Nah, I'm not paying attention. I'm panicking.
Yeah, Buru, you're standing over there just like freaking the fuck out over like I met a god. I didn't just meet a god, I met my god. And then you hear them talk about how they've met multiple gods, and you're like, I'm gonna get to meet more. Yeah. Hawkeye and Zerithan, both of you, especially after you, Zerithan, call out, hey, Sanzel. He is oddly quiet. And Zerithan, you can see from your perspective that Sanzel is not moving. And with that 18, you can see that he is lying in a pool of blood.
I
I'm the only one who sees this.
Buru would, but he's panicking about the gods. And Hawkeye cannot see because that wall is solid. Hawkeye can see you, so if you react harsh enough, he'll probably figure it out pretty fast.
He's going to see the color drain from Zerithan's face.
So his pale face gets paler.
Yes. Is the roof to this cell open? Like, can I see the cavern ceiling from where I'm at, or like, is there like a ceiling to
No,
this?
it's a solid. It's a solid roof.
Fuck.
Yeah, it is a solid roof, and the cells go like all the way up to the roof, including the bars. Roll me another perception check.
Okay.
Like you specifically.
Normal, I
Yes.
assume.
Bad.
Bad.
You on further inspection, you see that the blood doesn't look super fresh.
I don't see any, so it's dried. There's no fresh blood. So whatever wound there was.
I wouldn't say that it's that you see no fresh blood. It's just the blood that's on the ground is dry. You do see a little bit of fresh blood on his body, but it's only a little bit.
Hey, Buru,
Ah,
do you know any healing magics?
healing magics? Not at the moment. I'd have to meditate for a while to get those ready.
I want you to look straight ahead. Do you see Sanzel?
We were to look over. Huh?
You see he's unconscious.
Or sleep.
Do you see the blood?
Yeah, you would be able to see the blood once he points it out.
How's his chest rising? Like, does his breathing look normal, or does it look like not there, or does it look haptic? Like,
His breathing is very stuttered and shaky, but it's consistent. I'll put it that way.
Buru, if you know of any way to help him, you need to do it ASAP. I can't do anything from here. If we don't do something, he's going to die.
Rip the cell door off.
Huh?
I try and rip the cell door off.
Sure, make me a strength check.
Okay.
The one time having an 8-inch strength for Zerith does not come in handy. Min-maxing my character did not work here.
Hey!
Ooh.
Oh shit. Okay, let me do a roll of my own to see how much damage you do to this fucking door.
Just summon the bear and have it do it. Just wild shape into a bear.
I could have done a lot of other things, but
you hit the bars, and you see them go like concave, but you're not through them yet. But you hear this massive just bang, and it reverberates through the whole room and down a hallway that y'all did not realize was there.
Oh no.
Different approach.
You hear someone's voice from several cells down, just yell out, "Hey, keep it down." It sounds orcish in nature.
sorry. Then I'd like to wild shape into a rat and just go between the cell things and over to Sanzel.
Okay. You are in Sanzel's cell as a rat.
Do I see this rat go into his Sanzel cell?
Yes.
Do I see this rat turn back into a turtle?
I don't know. Do you? Does he?
I'll, like pretty close to those cell doors. I'll just turn back into a turtle. And
Okay.
Shit.
be
The
like,
fuck? Zerith didn't see the spider. This is new. This is scary.
and then I'd like to cast Goodberry and just kind of force feed Sanzel.
Eat, nigga.
Munch, munch.
Okay.
Force feed him some Goodberry and it'll heal him.
Okay. You force feed him some good berries, and you see. Now that you're in the cell with him, you can see the source of the wound. He has 2 deep stab wounds, one in his like stomach and the other more between 2 of his ribs. And you see that they've been sloppily dressed by someone. But your Goodberry takes care of them, and I'd say probably heals them pretty well. His breathing condition stabilizes, but he does not wake up. He stays completely knocked out.
We'll go back up to the bars. He's good.
Is he gonna be okay?
Hey, he's still knocked out. Yeah, he'll be alright.
What happened? Why was he
Got
bleeding?
stabbed.
What?
By what?
I don't know. He got stabbed.
Where at exactly?
His stomach and ribcage.
Those aren't good areas to be stabbed in.
He's fine. I gave him good berries. Someone left. You want it?
If you want to give it to him, you can reach around and hand it to him through the bars.
Yeah, I'll just like stick the hand out with a single good berry in hand. Like, you want it?
I'll take it.
Okay.
Okay. As y'all are talking about his wounds, you hear voices down the hallway and pretty fastly approaching you. Y'all do anything?
I'm going to whisper over to Buru and be like, Buru, get back in your cell now.
You got it. No. Wild shape back into a rat and just scurry back.
Okay.
I,
You scurry back into your cell. Let me move you.
I'm going to take a step back from my cell and sit down on the bench and just try to take a relaxed, pose.
Okay.
Hawkeye's gonna pretend he's still asleep, like he's rolled back up against the wall, and then he's back to thinking to the riddle. Wait, is it touch? And he's gonna kind of feel the wall with his hand, with his eyes closed, just thinking.
Okay. Zerith, you would be the first person to see these people. You see a drow. Actually, they're in the wrong order. You see a drow rush into the room in front of a beautiful Azamar woman in, like, what you can only see as royal gowns. And the drow is saying, "My lady, you can't just go see the prisoners." And Sabrina, you're more than welcome to take it over from here with just some roleplay.
But I want to see the prisoners. I want to know who they are and what they are doing here. So, Marla? Right?
Marla, yeah, your name is Marla.
Marla walks up to the first two gates, or the first two prison things.
Okay.
To any of the prisoners that are awake, please tell me who you are.
Zerith will look up towards you, and he'll say, "Only if you tell me who you are first."
I'm royal here. That's all you need to know as of yet. I need to know who you are.
Well, I think I need to know who you are too. From where I come, I might be considered royalty too, for all you know. You can't just come in here all high and mighty and expect the best out of us.
Yes, but
You
at
want
the
our
same time,
respect.
you are in my land, and I would like to know who I'm dealing with before
This
I
land belongs to nobody.
So,
as far as you know.
Marla, you would from Zerithan's gowns be able to recognize that he is a high overseer, which means he is actively in an organization. As far as you are aware, he is actively in an organization that is opposing your very right to be alive.
Let me
As far
take
as I know, you're opposing my right to be alive.
Let me take a step back and apologize. I do recognize your wardrobe, and it kind of put me in a sense of fear. I don't mean to come off very attitude-y, I suppose. I just, out of fear, would like to know who you are.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I don't wear these robes because I want to. It's all I have left. But if you want to know who I am, then I expect more information from you. You don't just get what you want in this world.
The drow will walk up to your cell and slam her hand onto the bars and say, "You will show respect for the queen."
This drow, right?
Yeah.
What is she wearing?
She's wearing, like, heavy plated armor.
Okay.
She's a warrior in all respect of the word.
I'll look to her, and Zerith is gonna assume since it's a drow that they're from Leath, and he's going to say, "I will show no respect to anybody who worships Asterix."
At that, the drow will get this look of absolute just rage and say, "How dare you speak that blasted name in the presence of the queen? Shut your mouth before I enter your cell and make you."
Zerith he's not gonna break his eye contact from her. He's just gonna keep staring at her, and he's going to say, "What do you know of that goddess then?
The drow will look towards Marla to see if she wants to answer that.
First, would like to get introductions out of the way. This seems to be going in circles. We seem to be clashing heads a lot. My name is Marla. I am the queen of the Wildlands.
Zerith's gonna cock an eyebrow at that, but he'll oblige, and he'll say, "I'm Zerith and Daorn of Trance, defector of Asterix."
So, Marla, at that, you would recognize Trance as the capital of the country opposing yours.
Interesting. May I ask who the rest of your team is?
They're people that were going to be sacrificed to that devil. I saved them, and I've been attempting to get them back to the surface, get them somewhere safe.
Buru's gonna approach the Cellgate and be like, "I'm Buru."
So it seems to me you're running, and you're just looking for somewhere not to be hunted.
You could say that. There might be more to it, but I can't just let my guard down to people who suddenly, out of nowhere, who I've never even met or heard of, say that they're fighting the same fight that I am. If you're truly opposed to that, he doesn't want to say God, he doesn't want to say Asterix either, because of the reaction. If you're truly opposed to that devil, then prove it to me. If I can honestly know that we're against the same... Sorry, what?
I will help you. If you need a different wardrobe, if you guys need food, a place to stay, I will help you in order to prove we are on the same side.
In that case, and he's gonna point over to Sanzel, I want a medic to see him immediately. If you do that for me, then I'll do whatever you ask.
Marla turns to the drow and requests a medic.
The drow will look at you in confusion for a moment, but then she will give you a salute and say, "Yes, my lady," and she will run down the hallway.
With that, Zerith, who's still not breaking that glare with you, what was your character's name?
Her name is Marla.
Marla. Without breaking that glare, he'll say, "Forgive me of my rudeness. I've learned very quickly that I can't trust just anybody here."
I forgive you. I also came across her. I saw your job. Like I said before, I spoke out of fear, and I would like to. I still also am a little a spy, but your concern for these people that you say you've helped has eased that fear.
In that case, might I ask a question?
Yes.
Was it your people who attacked us? And if they were, then why? We were merely simple travelers. There was no reason for them to come at us like they did.
Marla, you would know that, yes, it was your people that attacked them. They did set that trap. You're more than welcome to either tell them that that trap was set for surface dweller smugglers, or you can tell them that they were just merely caught at the wrong moment near the trap. You can tell them either or both.
Fortunately, that trap was not set for you. I apologize that you guys were hurt, but we weren't.
So you mean to tell me this is all just a big misunderstanding?
Yes. unfortunately.
To be
Very
fair,
well.
we were traveling on the smuggler's route.
I guess I can't blame you. He makes a good point. And I'm gonna shout over to Hawkeye and I'm gonna say, "Hey, stop acting like you're asleep over there."
Fine, okay.
The drow will rush back into the room with a gnoll healer and say, "My lady, I have returned with the healer." And the healer will rush up and move into Sanzel's cell.
As he does that, I'm going to ask, if you don't mind, are we allowed to exit these cells, or are you going to keep us here under watch for a bit longer?
No, you are free. I do have a couple more questions that are a little, for me, my people, a little concerned.
I'll answer, me and my comments will answer anything that you ask of us. On one last occasion. That simply being that we
Wanted
do
by
it
the
over a meal.
You said you wanted a meal?
Yeah, no. He was saying like, yeah, no, we'll talk with you as long as you feed us. That's basically what he said.
Oh. The drow will respond and say, "You will answer the queen's questions, and then we will provide you with food if she sees fit."
Zerith is just gonna do that. Like, he's gonna raise his hands like, alright, my bad, jeez. So what's your questions?
I just want to know if you're wanted. Are there anybody that's going to trace your steps and follow you here?
Currently, I'm being sought after by a vampire. He's a servant to the queen. And as I said earlier, I defected from Astrix. So she's currently not too keen at my existence either. However, that's just me. Everybody else in my party are simple bystanders who I'm trying to see to safety.
Are you a? I just want to bring up the fact that Silas is also hunting Hawkeye.
Oh yeah, no,
Okay.
he's lying.
Make me a deception check then,
Oh man, that's not my high suit.
Oh,
and then I will roll an insight check for.
Oof.
Damn.
Oh no.
Oh, my God.
Marla, you were able to tell that this man is not giving you the full truth.
Buru's the only not.
If you
wanted
want
man
to
in
eat
party.
and you want us to help you, I need you to answer me honestly.
The vampire I mentioned is also after the surface dweller.
Understood.
Hawkeye
I'm gonna-
kind of raises his finger and says, cat's out of the bag.
I'm gonna look over to you, like, Hawkeye, and is like, sorry, I had to.
He's gonna shrug and say, that's fine. I was gonna spill the beans anyway.
Regardless, the turtle here and the elf, he's a half
He's a half elf,
right?
yeah.
The turtle hill and the half elf will bring you no trouble. I sadly can't say the same for myself and my surface dweller friend, but if you can at least see us out of these cages, even if you don't wish to feed us, we can see our way out. You'll never hear from us again.
You've answered all of my questions. I will free you, and I will feed you. I also have somebody that would like to
That would like to what? I'm sorry, you cut out.
meet you guys.
I'm gonna look to the drow and say, it's not her, is it? It's a bit abrasive, a bit around the
No,
edges.
you've
what do you
already
say?
met the drow.
How does she react to
The
me
drow?
saying that?
The
Yeah.
drow just looks at you like you are an absolute fucking idiot.
I'm taking the piss out of her. She's been angry this entire time.
She looks at you and is just say, "You sully the name of drow with your stupidity."
Scathing.
Follow me.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. Do all of you follow her? The drow will unlock all of your cells.
Buru's hoping no one says anything about the dented cell door that he made.
The drow when she approaches your cell specifically, she'll be like, "What the hell happened here?"
I tripped.
It was a rat.
I tripped.
It was a rat.
It was a rat. Okay, just she'll take it. She'll be like, "Fucking travelers ruining all of our shit. I'm gonna have to." And she just mutters under her breath like, "I'm gonna have to get the backsman down here." And he just left. I fucking hate visitors. And she opens your cell, swings it open, and it's just like, "Get the fuck out of your cell."
When I hear her say I hate visitors, I'm just gonna be like, this is how you treat visitors?
I turned at the cell door. That she's pretty mad at me.
We don't get visitors often. Leave us alone.
All three of you are let out of your cell, and you are led by the queen through this massive building. You're led down
Bye,
hallways.
Sanzel.
You're led down hallways and just, I mean, corridors and stairs, and you're led upwards. You could tell that you were in some sort of basement, but you're eventually led to a room.
I'm just, during this entire time, I'm just gonna be looking at all this and noticing this, and I'm just gonna, like, think to myself, like, were they serious about Queen? Like Zerith's starting to legit think to himself, like, have I already found what I was looking for?
Y'all enter this room, and you see scholars. You see a tiefling towards the top. You see a human towards the side, who y'all can very obviously see is working by candlelight, unlike the other two, signaling that he's probably a surface dweller. The orc in the corner is also working, but you see a young man who looks human from the back, other than clawed feet and a tail that ends in a whip-like edge.
Is he a tiefling?
You could probably surmise that from his tail. He is probably some sort of tiefling, yes.
I'm just gonna like look around this entire room, look at the people working, look at how many people have we seen on our, like, just way from the dwellers?
The cellars? From the dungeons. You probably didn't see a lot while you were still on the lower floor, but once you were led up the first flight of stairs, you were met with, people who were in less fortunate attire than this queen, but not like in slave garbs either. People who you could probably see as being like servants or attendants, wandering around the halls, cleaning, being busy. You could see scholars, just people living an actual life. It's probably the calmest society you've seen in a while.
I'm gonna call out to the queen. I'm just gonna call her the queen because I keep forgetting her name. I'm just going to say, where are we? There's no way we're still in the Wildlands. This must be something different. Maybe even another realm.
Believe it or not, that's where we are. We've been here for a while, about as long as most. But I would like you to meet. Marla approaches the young man. Prince Boy, I would like you to meet our visitors.
The tiefling will stand up from his research. He was leaned over and obviously very in depth in thought. And he looks up and he says, what? And then he sees you all and he says, "Oh, visitors. How exquisite. Hello." And he'll extend a hand to the one nearest to you, which happens to be Zerith at the moment. And he'll flourish it with a bow and say, why, sir, you seem to be wearing overseer garments. There must be such a tale to that. You can see that this boy is obviously no older than 16.
Okay. I'm gonna say to him, as he says, there must be a tell to that. I'm just, as straight faced as I can say, I was brainwashed for 250 years.
He will die laughing. He'll just go, ha 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 ha. Yes, my family does tend to do that.
He caught an eyebrow there and he goes, what do you mean? Your what? Family? What are you talking about?
Oh, it is nothing important at the moment. And he'll extend his hand to Hawk. He'll walk around you and say, well, hello, friends. You don't appear to be from around here. Might I make your acquaintance? And he'll do the same flourished bow.
Quite astute of you. Of course I'm not from around here. The name is Hawkeye. He'll bow as well.
He'll give you a toothy grin and say, my name is Prince Void, at your service. And
Nice to meet you as well.
he'll turn and look to Buru and say, and you, our turtle friend. It's been a while since we've seen one of you in our quaint building. And he'll start to approach you. Do you respond negatively or?
Negatively, but
If you
was just clearly very uncomfortable and just like kind of ducks his head to him. He's like, "Hello."
he'll stop where he's at and say, "Hello to you too, traveler," and he'll leave you alone. He won't approach you after seeing that you are uncomfortable. He'll walk back up to the queen and say, "Well, my friends, are they safe enough to know the truth?"
One of them is wanted by the queen. Two of them are being chased, but as far as I've gathered, they are trustworthy of the truth.
Very well. It is always splendid to potentially gain new allies to our cause. But you, friend, I fear I interrupted you.
He's saying
Yes.
that to me. I'm just gonna like look at the queen and go like, is this your son? He said he was the prince.
The prince will grin and grab her around the shoulders, kind of crushing her wings a bit, and say, "Do we look related to you at all?"
I mean, adoption is obviously a.
It's a safe assumption.
Yeah. Thank you.
Fair enough. But no. And he'll run back to his desk and sit down on the edge of it and say, goodness gracious, my friends, well, perhaps my friends, if you'll have me as one. As I said, my name is Prince Void. You are currently in the Wildlands. You are under my jurisdiction.
So the prince outclasses the queen. Is this a principality?
No. It is a mere formality. We don't want the crowned prince to be wandering around the dungeons talking to people who were in overseer garments who might have been smuggling a surface dweller. We have no knowledge of who you are or what your intentions were. So I sent my personal guard down to see if you were trustworthy enough to know the truth. To see if you were actually an ally.
Well, did we pass your little test?
I mean, what do you think? I'm talking to you, aren't I? You're not dead.
You know,
Fair point.
that's fair
Beef.
enough. Yeah. But I can't help but be confused. You talk as if the queen is your personal guard. And on top of that, how can we be in the Wildlands? The Wildlands is a vast expanse of nothing. But you claim to be sitting atop some sort of kingdom? You claim to be people here who actually live a worthwhile life?
He flips onto his desk, rather just bored, and says, "My friend, you must surmise that there's there was some sort of civilization if you risked coming all this way.
Well, I'm not going to lie to you. I assumed that, but I was kind of just running off of fumes. Like, it was more or less just optimism than anything.
He laid on the desk on his back. He'll flip over onto his stomach and look at you with his legs up in the air, like fiddling with his tail. And he'll say, well, you can see there are people here that are living a life that's not just combat and blood. There are scholars, there are servants, there are attendants, there are guards, there are dungeons, and there are medics. We are a civilized people. You were correct and wrong in your assumptions. There is life out here. Rather timid.
Well, that's fantastic. In that case, this is exactly what I was looking for. In that case, you guys might be able to help us.
And help you with what, my friend? Won't you enlighten me?
We need to see the surface. And he's gonna look towards Hawkeye, and he's going to say, I need to get this one home.
He will perk up at that and say, ooh, the surface. So you are a surface seeker, where you are a surface dweller. How quaint.
That is correct.
Zerith just like this entire time has been sitting here being like thinking to himself like, so when do I drop the I want to kill God bomb on them?
That is totally up to you. Void will look at both of you curiously and say, what are you trying to return to, Surface Dweller? And then before you answer, he'll look at you, Zerith, and also say, and what are you seeking? You don't just want to go to the surface for nothing. Do you seek refuge, safety, or power?
All of the above. If I'm to be completely honest.
He'll grin a wicked smile and say, a man after my own heart. And you, my friend, and he'll gesture to Hawkeye.
I only seek my family and return home. I recently discovered that 2 of my children were kidnapped from the surface and taken down here, so I just want to be sure that the rest of my family is safe and okay, and probably make sure everyone else is safe. And as I point to Buru and Zerith.
Fair enough. Family is quite important to some people. I am glad that your family is of the kind that is worthwhile. And you all can, like, without rolls at all, sense that there is major bitterness in his tone when he says that.
Can I just roll? Because like I think I know who he is. Like me myself. Can I roll to see if Zerith is caught on yet?
Okay. Roll to see if he's caught on, and then message me what the hell you're thinking.
Okay, what would I roll? Or should I message you first?
No. Roll first because you might be able to pick up on what I'm thinking, but I'm very curious as if it's the same thing. I'd say insight.
Normal advantage is just
normal.
That 20, baby. Damn it! It even teetered on that 20 for me. Like,
any of the rest of you are more than welcome to make insight checks as well.
Yeah, I'll definitely make insight check. Like, he is throwing off some off vibes.
It's still a 19.
His vibes do not sit well with me. Insight. Oh my god, Hawkeye is just the dumbest.
No goodness!
Good.
Oh my gosh.
Big F's all around.
Big oof.
What were you thinking, Zerithan? The other two of you know absolutely nothing. You just know this guy is pissed when he talks about his family.
5% chance to roll a 1.
Wow.
Chances that 2 people roll it.
That is like that's wild. That's whack.
I mean, both of y'all rolled natural 20s earlier, right?
I didn't roll 20.
Okay, well,
Rolled it in
Buru
the
did.
Test rolls. Test rolls.
Uh. Okay. I will say this. I will allow that to be your assumption until you bring it up to him, because he's probably not going to bring it up if you don't talk. But I do have something planned if you do bring it up, so do with that information what you will.
Zerith is gonna think. He's gonna think to himself. He's gonna be like, "Wait a second. You call yourself Prince? You said you're the Crown Prince. You're a tiefling. Isn't the person I'm thinking of a tiefling?
The consort is a tiefling, if that is what you're asking.
So even more so, everything lines up to this, and like Zerith wants to bring it up, but his reaction to him mentioning family made Zerith think about his reaction to a certain chant, and he's like, I'm not gonna give this kid a PTSD flashback right now. I'll bring it up later.
Okay, fair enough. He will start talking to you all about the wildlands, describing different creatures. He'll talk to you about sharp wings, which are these bat-like creatures with like razor-sharp wings that will attack in packs. He'll talk about goodness gracious, he will talk to y'all about creatures called shadow bloods, which are these shadowy creatures that drip with this black ichor. And if they actually get a good clean cut into you, there's a possibility that if their ichor gets inside of you, that it will contaminate you, sort of stuff. It's reversible, but it is a time limit sort of thing. Think of it as like snake venom.
Ooh.
He describes several other creatures to you, including one ravenous plant that will like devour you a lot like a Venus flytrap would. I see you're taking notes. Do you want me to talk slower?
What's the name of the shadow creature?
Shadow blood.
Shadow blood. And there was one before that.
Sharpwing.
Sharpwing. Just sharp.
It can be one word or two. I don't care. It can be spelled both ways.
Flying razors.
I mean, that's pretty accurate. Not gonna lie. Like I said, he talks to you about several other types of creatures that you might encounter out in the wildlands. And then he brings up politics. He says, I'm the crowned prince, but since I'm so young, many outsiders or people that we bring into the community don't favor having someone so young and quote-unquote inexperienced as the ruler of this land. So my guard stands in for me on most political occasions as the queen. But really, she is nothing more than a figurehead when it comes to politics. No offense, Marla, my dear.
I understand my role.
Well, you definitely have the charisma of a leader.
He'll flick his tail at that and say, well, our charismas match then, don't they?
You could say that.
He'll bring up. Let me make a roll. I'm curious. How does he favor y'all right now? That's not bad. Okay, he'll look at all of you and say, what are your intentions after the surface? Do you intend to return? Or do you intend to run away from all of your troubles and find refuge on the surface permanently?
Can I roll to see how much I trust this gentleman?
Go for it.
No.
What would I roll?
What were you gonna say, Sabrina?
No, I was just denying him his role.
Oh, what would you roll? Probably, yeah.
Boop.
And
Do
that's up to you. Is that roll good enough for you to think you trust him?
Yeah, sure. What? So he asked what we're gonna do after.
Yeah, he asked all of you. Like, any of you are more than welcome to speak up. Yeah.
Does anybody want to say anything before I drop the biggest bomb this man has ever seen?
Hawkeye's is gonna pitch in. I haven't really thought of the future too much. I've been trying to take it day by day. Trying to get to the surface is half the battle.
That is fair enough. I'm sure your travels have been quite wearisome.
Buru's gonna kind of awkwardly raise his hand. Question.
Yes, my dear turtle.
Looking for safe home for my kind. Can they come here?
He'll give you a rather empathetic smile and just give a look to Marla over his shoulder and say, "Are our rations looking good enough to take in? How many of your people would you say there are?"
Probably. Okay, what do you think?
Huh?
Couple hundred?
I'd probably say yeah, probably.
Probably at least more than 2.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd probably say in between 200 and 300 people.
Around 2 or 300.
He'll look back to Marla again and say, "Do you think our rations can cover that many extra people?" They would offer hands in order to help us get more rations.
I feel like we could sustain.
Then he'll turn back. He'll give Marla a smile and say, "Thank you, dear," and look back to Buru and say, "Yes, I suppose we can give refuge to your people. That is what we're known for."
Oh God, Buru has no reason to stay with the party now.
If it's I can look on the surface too. If you don't want us here, I can keep looking. It's
No, my friend. That is not necessary. If your people wish to stay in the comforts of Leath, they are more than welcome to stay here. There's no need to continue looking for something that you have already found. Take comfort in the fact that we will take in your people.
Buru nod his head and just need to sign anything or
He'll look at you curiously and say, "If that is what you wish, but that is not necessary. I'll have one of my scouts come and show you to our war room with one of our maps of the continent, and you can mark the closest point to where your people are, and we will send a team to go fetch your people."
Buru will just nod.
He'll give you an awkward smile and then look back to Zerith and Hawkeye and say, "Anything else, gentlemen?"
After I see this one home, and he's gonna say it's looking at Hawkeye, and then after I, and then he like turns over to Buru and says, "And after I see a safe haven for his people, I plan on gathering an army and returning to Leath. I plan on seeing the Queen brought to justice, and I plan on seeing Astra's fall."
He's confused, and so when you say the Queen to justice, his eyes just, I can't think of a better way to describe it, but just burn with rage.
Oh gosh. At me?
No, just rage in general.
Okay.
Like don't get me wrong. He looks very upset that you brought it up, but the rage is not necessarily brought onto you. It is just he is upset that the topic has been touched on. Like he has stopped just wiggling his feet up in the air because he's still on his stomach looking at y'all. Like he's being very unprofessional. And his feet just freeze and his tail stops flicking back and forth playfully. And he just stares at you. Just his eyes just bore into you. And then when you say what was it? Asterix. What did you say about Asterix?
I plan to see Astra's fall.
If you plan to see it, when you say that, he says, You want to see a god fall. And with that, I want all of y'all to make me wisdom saving throws.
Oh, cute.
23.
Come on. Jesus. I ain't rolling so hot.
Ew!
Hey!
Okay. Hawkeye. Okay, this is what you all see. This is what you all see. Because all of you see the same thing. It's just all of you are going to have different reactions. All of you see this kid, this teenager, this random pale-ass tiefling with tiny horns just radiate the most, like, terrifying aura. Like, you can see it on his body. It flares in black and red, just literal physical aura around him. And you see just this figure kind of double behind him. And it has the same crescent moon, but in the opposite direction as Asterix. Both you and Hawkeye, Zerith, would recognize that it is a absolute parallel to Asterix, but it is not a female form like Asterix takes. It's a male form. Buru, you see this as well, but you wouldn't connect that it's like an opposite to Asterix. Hawkeye.
Just looking on like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hawkeye, you are absolutely fucking terrified. Like, unable to speak, unable to move, you just are mortified by the sight. Zerathan, you're freaked out, but I'd consider your yeah, you keep your wits. It's more of just like a, what the fuck is going on?
Can I say something?
Let me tell Buru.
Sorry.
Buru, you see this, and you're also very scared, but you are not frozen in place. Now you may speak.
I want to look at him as I see this, and I just want to mutter, "What the hell are?"
You hear him laugh, and it's a double laugh. You hear the kid, but then you also hear whatever this entity is that is shadowing him laugh as well.
Is he still all cutesy on his desk and shit? Oh my god.
He's returned back to like wiggling his tail and tipping his feet back and forth, just being like, "You have absolutely no idea what I'm capable of." He's like, "I am just the crown prince." And then he'll whisper to you, loud enough for you and Hawkeye, probably not Buru since you're a bit further away, but he'll say, "But I have a little friend. A friend that helps me fight."
A friend that will help you fight. Boo.
We noticed.
As you should. Recognize the strength of him. The absolute beauty of his power. And to answer your question, my drow friend, he helps me fight whomever I please, whomever he pleases. We're a team, we work together, and he'll flip over and do kind of like a flip off of his desk, stand, and now that he's standing, you see that this shadow double stands a good 3 to 4 feet above this kid. And this kid isn't short. He's probably standing about 5'8", 5'9". But this creature just absolutely, shadows him. He says, "He does whatever he pleases, and I do whatever he pleases. We're a team. But we've kept each other alive. It's one of the reasons why... I suppose it doesn't matter anyway. One of the reasons why the coup didn't completely work."
Zerith stares like at him. Like this entire time he's been looking at the figure. But then he like cocks his head. It's like slowly like, you know? Oh yeah. And he goes, "What do you know about the coup?"
"What don't I know about the coup? I was there, you know."
Then you can tell me. I need information on it. If I'm going to see the queen dethroned, I need everything I can possibly gather on it.
He stares at you when you say this, basically begging him for information. And he flipped off of his desk like upwards. And then when you say that, he lunges over his desk at you and gets right up in your face and says, "What quarrel do you have with the throne? Do you seek the power it holds? Answer me truthfully."
Can I have a moment? Like out of character, can I have a moment? Can we just like move? All right.
Oh my gosh.
What did he say? Like repeat it to me.
He flips over his desk and he said,
Yeah.
"What power?" Basically, for lack of a
What
better
do
way to put it, he's basically asking you, "Do you seek the personal power of the throne?" He wants to know what your intentions are when it comes to ruling the country or not.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out my way to phrase what Zerith wants.
And any of the rest of y'all are more than welcome to interact. I'm sorry if this feels very like two-sided.
No, it's totally fine. Like Hawkeye's just kind of, he's just hanging back. He's like, how can a mortal possess the power of a god? Like,
We were scared for a different reason entirely.
Oh joy.
I say, I'm gonna butcher this. I say, I don't seek the power of the throne. I seek the power to save anybody who has been done wrong by Asterix and her minions.
You see a grin appear on Void's face, but you see a smirk appear on the shadows. And Void will answer you first. He'll say, "Well, then, I see no reason to keep anything from you if you don't seek the power of my throne." And then the shadow will answer, and he'll lean over Void and lean like down to you and get in your face and say, "But if you betray us, I'll kill you."
I want to just look up to the figure.
Yeah.
Just want to mutter, like say to him, like my eyes are like hard still, right? Like just staring at him, but I'm sweating. I'm sweating hard. And one because like it would be reminiscent of Asterix, so like a little bit of PTSD there, and two just the simple might of what this thing is.
Yeah, because
And
y'all haven't asked what it is.
I just want to look up to it, and I want to say, so you can speak. Can you tell me who you are then?
It's not a question of whether I can tell you who I am, it's a question of whether I care to.
Fair enough. He's just gonna grin. He's just gonna smile at that. Still sweating hard. He's just gonna smile like, fair enough.
Hawkeye's gonna pitch in with your symbol. Are you related to Asterix in some way?
Both of them look disturbed at the name. Prince Void is more physical with his... Oh my gosh. Prince Void is more physical with his disturbedness. He just seems to be, goodness gracious. You're not wrong. Legit though, you're not wrong. That's a pretty good representation.
That's legit the vibe I've been getting this entire time. But I'm
No,
so sorry.
legit though. You're not wrong. But Void seems more physically disturbed, whereas you can more sense the disturbance from the shadow. Void will look up to the shadow and say, "This is your jurisdiction, not mine." And the shadow will peer over to you, like over Zerith's head at you, Hawkeye, and say, "What do you know of Asterix?"
She tried to sway me to her side once. I said no.
You're either very foolish or very brave to stand up to someone like her.
Recently, I've been called both.
He'll grin at that and say, "What type of man would you say you are?"
someone who fights for what's right, someone who stands up for what they believe in and protects their family from any harm.
I am a housewife.
He'll take in that information and stay silent for a second. His face is emotionless while he thinks. And then he... I guess it's kind of a look of... a mix of anger and regret and bitterness as he says, Asterix is two things to me. She is a nuisance, but she is also, for lack of a better way to state it, my sister.
And I never caught your name, so...
My name is Obelix. Obelix? Obelix.
Yeah, Obelix.
So I would be safe to say that we kind of have a common enemy of sorts.
That would be a fair statement. And yeah, you spelled it right.
Well, I believe that due to her influence and her growing power, that she might have been the reason why my children were separated from the rest of my family. So I have several bones to pick with her. She threatened me a few times, so I believe she must pay. She must go down.
You are brave in your statements. It is true that Asterix has caused much pain in this land. But no one is blameless in any of this. Everyone has a place. Everyone has done their own harm. Asterix is just the name they've put to the pain they've caused. But with that being said, the pain will be greatly lessened if she meets an unfortunate demise. And he'll look over all three of you, and both Void and Obelix will say at the same time, like it's really eerie, they'll say, "How do all of you intend to slay this god?"
Hawkeye's kind of like chuckle to himself and say, with what else? How else can you fight a god with another god? Thankfully, I serve two of them.
And I have three on my side.
I might have one. Maybe.
Void will grin at you. Oops, didn't mean to move. Void will grin at you, Buru, and just give this like, aw. And but the shadow, or I guess I could call him by the name. The shadow's, I like the shadow though. It rolls off the tongue.
I was thinking about before you gave him the name drop. I was gonna refer to him as the foil. I thought that was gonna be really cool, but then you name dropped him. And I'm like, oh okay.
I mean, I wasn't going to, but then y'all asked, and I was just like, I don't think he'd hide it from you. It was very much information that he's just like, I'm not gonna give this away freely, but if they ask, I really don't care. But
Fair enough.
I'm just gonna call him the Shadow. I'll go back and forth. The Shadow will look to both you and Zerith and say, depending on which of the other gods you speak of, their reach here might not be as helpful as you think it is.
We'll figure out a contingency.
I'm sure you will, Drow. Let's see. Prince Void is going to speak at this point and say, well, perhaps you don't necessarily have to go to the surface to find the support that you're looking for. Would you perhaps be interested in an alternative means of getting an army?
I'll hear any suggestions you have.
And he'll clap his hands and say, "Splendid!" And at this point, the shadow rolls his eyes and dissipates.
Oh, gosh.
Jesus Christ.
The shadow's just like, "What the fuck, you show off."
This child. This child.
Legit though.
Wait a second. I'm sorry, I just realized something.
What?
You said this kid looks like he's like 16,
Yeah.
right? The coup was over 100 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Explain.
I don't have to explain anything to you.
She doesn't have to explain it.
He's 116 years old. What's so wrong about that?
Dude, his skincare
It's
routine must be top notch.
What, Sabrina?
I said it's he has two personalities. One really old one and one really young.
Fair enough. He'll look to you and say, "Splendid," and clap his hands together and say, "Well, haven't I a tale for you? I'm sure you'll be quite surprised, since you expected there to be none of us here of civilized nature. My drowish friend, there are many clans within this land. I rule them all, of course. Well, most of them, that is. But the vast majority of them I rule, and perhaps they would be interested in helping you. But there's a catch. They all have leaders of their own that are rulers under myself. I, as ruler of this land, decided to give them the freedom to involve themselves in any sort of rebellious nature personally. Each town has their own rules and laws about such excursions. In order to get the support of my people, you will need to go to their leaders and influence the clans personally. My word means nothing when it comes to matters of war. Only matters of protection can I overrule."
I have no qualms with this. Regardless of if one or all of them decide to aid, I'll take anything I can.
That is fair. What say the rest of you? And I'll look at you, Hawkeye, and gesture to Buru as well.
Can I say something real quick to Hawkeye?
Okay, go for it.
I'm gonna turn to Hawkeye like before he has a chance to answer. Void?
Void, yeah.
Void or
Void.
Okay. Zerith's gonna turn to Hawkeye and like I'm just gonna stare at you. Like I'm gonna try to make as hard eye contact with you as I can, and I'm going to say, if you wish to return to the surface, so be it. I won't hold that against you. In fact, I will do whatever I can to make sure that you see your kids back to you as soon as possible. You have a family there who needs you. If you want to part ways now and return home, this is probably the only opportunity you'll get. I won't blame you for what decision you make.
Hawkeye is going to put a hand to Zerith's shoulder and say, "I can't just abandon you when things are getting tough like this. You'll need my help."
Goddamn right I will. And then I'm gonna look over to Buru, and I'm going to say, Buru, you've given us great aid. You've helped us in every way imaginable. You've even risked your lives for us countless times. I've only known you for less than a week. If you wish to depart and go back to your clan and see them safely here, then so be it. I won't hold that against you.
Buru's gonna pause for a while and he's be like, he's gonna look over at Void and he's like, "My people, be safe here. Yes."
Your people will be as safe as any of the rest of my people.
I'll look back at you and he's like, "More adventure sounds fun."
More adventure it is. If I'm to die
Hawkeye's
with
gonna-
anybody, if I'm to die with anybody, I'll gladly die with a turtle and a surface dweller. I feel like there's somebody we're forgetting.
It'll be an interesting memorial tombstone, at least. Here lies Zerith, adventured with a surface dweller and a turtle.
Don't Sanzel, he's still part, I think.
And
I forgot
Sanzel.
about him.
Oh my god.
Void at that point, when you bring up Sanzel, will be like, "Oh, that is right. You did have another one with you. How was he doing?" And he'll ask you, Zerith, but then he'll also look at like the Drow and Marla and be like, "How was he doing?" any of y'all can answer.
He decided to sleep in.
He'll be alright.
He cackles at this and said, "Ha ha ha ha, decided nothing."
What do you mean?
I mean, the rest of you have been knocked out for several days. It's no consequence, like it's no coincidence, there we go, that he's still knocked out from being stabbed twice by one of our poisoned daggers. I meant his condition, not his status and consciousness.
Zerith's still trying to get over the idea that we've been out for days. Like, he's been this entire time thinking we've been out for like a couple hours
Nah.
tops. Oh shit. Ah! You see all the color drained from his face, and he just looks between like every single person like in this little group, including the Drow, like knight, warrior, whatever, just like
Goodness gracious.
back and forth.
Sabrina, were you about to say something?
No,
No?
just a side comment.
Oh, okay.
What was it going? What were you gonna say?
Well, okay. Regardless, Void will smile at your confusion and say, "Your friend will be fine. He will just be out for quite a while. Our soldiers can be quite trigger fingery
Sufficient.
with
Oversized.
weapons when it comes to people who move as quickly as your friend did. The rest of you fell within seconds. Your friend got away."
You know, I can't blame you for that.
They could have been a bit more tactful with their positioning of the wounds, but we are known for our combat, not our medical skills.
He'll be fine. No harm, no foul. Now, as you were saying, if we're to go about this plan, we'll need to discuss it in great detail. Might I suggest we partake in a meal together to discuss everything?
He'll oblige. We'll do a little. Just I don't have a room prepared for y'all to go eat, so I'll just say, time skip. Y'all now have food, but y'all are in the same room. So y'all now have food, and like whatever food you desire within reason, they fetch for you.
Zerith grew a pretty decent taste for vegetation after his time with the turtle people, so
They will bring you an exquisite salad.
Hawkeye has been craving meat like nobody's business, and he's going to town.
as long as there's you know, good like romaine lettuce, none of that iceberg shit, some tomatoes, a little bit of dairy, and some cheese, some eggs for that protein. Zerith's good.
They bring stuff that is comparable to all those, yes.
Fuck it.
Does Buru request anything specific?
Just whatever they bring them.
Okay. They'll bring.
Just
Sorry. They will bring a mix of like salad doings like Zerith is partaking in, and they'll bring also some platters of different types of breads, cheeses, and meats. Like, it's not a feast by any means, but it's more food than y'all have seen in probably since y'all left Rifa's.
Oh,
Because ever since you left Rifa's, you've been eating like beef jerky and stale bread from your rations. That's about it.
Hey man, that mold adds character.
So this is probably a feast to y'all's eyes.
How many people are in the room?
The same amount of people that were there. There's 3 scholars, and then Void and the 2 guards, and then
Oh, the
yourselves.
scholars came with. Okay.
Yeah, the scholars are still in the room. They didn't sway from their duties. They kept at whatever they were doing.
They kept scholaring.
Yes. Did you ask for a specific reason, or did you just want to know?
I just wanted to know.
Void, now that you have food, he kind of fucked off into his own thing for a bit because he felt like the conversation was done until y'all got food. So he comes wandering, really sauntering back to you and saying, "Now that you have refreshments and food, might we continue discussing how we might get my throne back?"
So you say that we need to visit these tribes, clans, cities?
Tribes,
Of-
clans, cities, whatever you wish to call them, they are my people.
Well, if we could get a map that will show us exactly where they're at, and any sort of information, or maybe even a letter of introduction towards each of the leaders, that would make things a bit, it would quicken the process up.
When you mention a map, his face just goes even paler, and he's like, "I didn't think that far." And he doesn't seem to be talking to you. He seems to be talking more to himself. "I didn't think that far. I haven't consulted with her yet. I need to do that." And like, he's saying all of this out loud enough for all of you to hear. And he looks up to you, Hawkeye, and then glances at Buru and says, "I need all of you to come with me. There's someone I need you to meet before I can officially give you refuge. Your people will still have refuge. I have jurisdiction over that business, don't worry. But help in the war is something that I need extra permission for from someone very dear to me." And his voice cracks when he says dear to me.
Hawkeye just stands up and he just nods like, "All right, lead the way."
I'm gonna take a boiled egg and pop it in my mouth and be like, "I'm right behind you."
Okay. He'll...
take a piece of bread.
Ooh, sorry.
Just pull it back into a shell to store it.
There's a fucking bag of holding in there. I'm telling you.
I love... It's a shell of holding!
Oh, God.
I miss the fanny pack of holding.
Goodness gracious. He will nod to you all, greatly appreciating the fact that none of you questioned this at all. And he will lead you out of the room and up through the, oh gosh, what would you call it? Complex, I suppose? He brings, Marla with him. I'll let you finish typing whatever you're typing, yeah.
I'm just putting comments. You don't need to like actually pause.
No, you're good. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't something y'all were actually gonna bring up before I moved on. Because I know sometimes when I'm
that is
talking,
accurate.
y'all talk to each other about stuff in the chat, and I didn't want to, you know. Anyway, I didn't want to move on too quickly, basically. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Okay, Void will bring you to a room, and he'll say, it's this way. And as he approaches the door...
Stay in the back, Zerith.
I can't see.
As he approaches the door, he says, "Please be cautious with your words. This she's fragile. And he'll open the door and enter the room. He'll leave Marla by this fireplace. And he'll leave Marla by the fireplace, and he himself will walk in this direction. And he'll say, "My dearest, I have brought guests."
What do we see before us?
She might look super young in that, but she's probably in her late 20s, early 30s. And it is just this beautiful and yet at the same time just really freaking adorable. Like, think of all the sexy people I've shown you, and this girl's just cute. She's cute, she looks very innocent, she looks very happy. She's currently scribbling on a piece of paper with various different colors of ink. Very content and happy with what she's doing, and there's a picture book also on the table that has been opened to a scene of a, like, forest landscape.
I am going to bow and say, as I feel Void just stare into my back, say, "It's a pleasure to meet you, young lady. You may call me Zerith."
She'll look up to you, and her happy demeanor just drains as she sees your visage. She says, "You're an overseer," and she'll topple out of her chair and just crumple into the corner.
No, my dear, no, I am no overseer by trade. Not anymore. These clothes are just old racks. In fact, I've killed many of overseers in my day.
Hawkeye's gonna look over and like, "You're not helping."
She does look absolutely mortified, and she says, but overseers, but they don't change. They stay stagnant. They stay loyal. They don't change. How could you have changed? That doesn't make sense. And she just gets more and more frantic and, like, panicked during this bit. A Void comes up to her and says, "My dearest, you must calm down. You don't want to have another fit again." And he puts his hands around her, and she doesn't steady, but she doesn't get any worse.
I will notice this, bow, and say, "Forgive me. I'll leave you be." And just get the fuck out of there and let them talk about this. I was gonna chill back here with the queen, like this.
Her breathing gets less erratic, but she still looks absolutely mortified of the other two of you because you were, well, y'all can surmise, again, without rolls. She's terrified of you because you were with him.
Hawkeye is gonna just take off his hood and kind of sit cross-legged in front of her and say, "My name's Hawkeye. It's very nice to meet you."
She'll look at you quizzically and say, It's a pleasure."
He's gonna give a small smile and say, "I didn't catch your name."
She'll look at you and look. Another flash of fear goes across her face, and she looks over to Void. And Void will nod and say, It's okay. They're trustworthy. Trust me." And she'll look back to you, Hawkeye, and you hear her say, My name is Chant."
Hawkeye is just gonna say, "That's a very pretty name. I really like what you've been doing with the colors over there. You have a good eye for art."
She will grin at that and say, You really like it? You think it's pretty?" And she'll hop up and, like, grab the page she was working on and say, "This is the one I'm working on, but, like, I've worked on all of these." And she'll pull out a whole, like, a book that she's been painting in.
Hawkeye's just gonna have like this big dad grin and say, "Oh gosh, this is wonderful.
And
You're really talented."
she is just soaking up the compliments. Like, you see her, literally, it's the pinnacle of a child who just, like, walked by a fence where dogs barked super loud at them and they started crying, and then, you know, seeing this cute little, like, kitten walk up and just adorable. It's just complete mood flip.
The absolute shit is going on here.
It's called relating to a child.
I met her name.
She said it loud enough for Zerith to hear it.
I mean, you saw his reaction. What?
She's just having fun showing you her drawings. And do any of y'all say anything to her? If not, Void will be the one that continues the conversation. Oh my gosh, don't you dare. Don't even think about it, don't.
Do it. I want to skip. Do it.
Goodness
Hawkeye's
gracious.
going to
I'll post in the Discord.
That's,
Oh my
okay,
gosh.
fine.
Hawkeye's going to motion over to Buru.
You gonna do what? Hold on. What?
I'm introducing you to chant, like saying like I'm slowly trying to introduce new elements. Like, this is Buru. He's a very good friend of mine.
Buru will offer the like turtle smiling, like, greetings, man.
She'll smile at you and say, "Hello, your shell's a really pretty color. Do you think I could try to mix my colors together to make it match? I'd love to paint something with it."
Buru shrugs his shoulders. Sure.
She'll grab a bunch of different colors of paints and start swatching them on another page to see if she can get a color close to your, like, undershell.
For a second, I thought you were asking if she could paint on the shell. I was like, gonna be like, okay.
No, she's trying to, like, color match your shell because she really likes the color.
Yeah.
Void will interrupt and say, "My dearest, my apologies for interrupting your fun excursion, but I do have something rather serious to ask you." And she'll just keep on going. She's humming to herself, and she'll say, "Of course, just what is it?" And he'll say, I need your permission to lay out a declaration of war. And I need your blessing to show them the map." And she stops what she's doing and says, a war on who?" And Void just looks lost for words. Like, he doesn't know how to answer. He's freaked out because he's like, I didn't. Go ahead, just for funsies. Roll me a perception or insight check on Void.
Oh, okay.
Any
Void boy.
any
Void
and all of
boy.
Yeah.
Come on, Void boy.
Plus
Perception.
Hey!
Oh, finally,
Oh.
I rolled pretty good.
Good try.
Okay.
My dad's senses are tingling.
Hawkeye, you can tell that he is trying to select his words, like, abnormally carefully. The other two of you just kind of see that he's nervous.
I wish I had like a spell that could like fortify mind or something. Like, here, buddy, I got you.
He still doesn't seem to know what to say. He's just like, I just need your permission, my dear.
Hawkeye, come and touch you.
There's some very bad people around who need to be stopped. And I believe they might be interfering with my family. I'm worried about them.
your your family. What do you know of family?
Oh, well, I'm a dad. I have got a few kids. My youngest is 10. I recently found him down here. He was scared out of his mind. If I'd known any better, I wish I could have stayed with them and prevented from them being kidnapped. And I want to make sure that no one else gets kidnapped like him.
She looks mortified when you bring up kidnapping. She'll look to Void and say, "Kidnaps? Who's kidnapping people? What is going on? Void, you told me everything was okay." And he'll look to her and say, "You mustn't worry yourself with things outside the room. I just need your permission to declare war. That's it. Then you can go back to your colors and go back to being you." Roll me another insight check. Or perception. I don't like I said, I don't care which. Perception or insight, you'll be able to tell either way.
Come on, perception.
That's a lot better.
You rolled D.
Oh!
Hey!
All of you got it. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
You can see on just painted all across Void's face this absolute agony as he's talking to her. You all can gleam that she wasn't always this cutesy and ditzy. There's something else going on here, but you can't quite put it together. As you should be.
Tell me, ma'am. Is there any animal you'd like to see?
An animal? She'll look to Void for like permission, and he'll give it to her, but you can see that he's just getting more and more upset every moment he spends in this room. He'll wave his hand to her and say, Of course, my dear. Answer the man." And she'll look to you and grin and say, I really like rabbits."
Yes? I'll tell you what. If you give him the permission he is asking for, I'll let you play with several rabbits. Hmm?
Roll me a persuasion check with advantage.
Okay.
Thomas, please.
I guess it doesn't have high charisma anymore.
I mean, my charisma ain't any better, but hey!
Hey! -1. I can't wait for the day. I can't wait for the day when, like, I'm so sorry, Dylan. I can't wait for the day when Buru pulls a pulls a Johan and gets a 0 on a charisma check.
I mean, that is totally fine. I have a feeling that might.
I love it. I would die if you got it. Like, that's so. Yeah, but no. She'll grin ear to ear at that and say, "Oh, okay," and she'll look to Void and say, "Just promise to be careful, okay? I don't know what you're doing, but it must be important and good and of great importance and valor. If you're gonna fight," he'll. I'm not gonna make y'all roll. Y'all have rolled well enough on the other rolls to see he is about to like break down crying at this, and he just says, "Yes, of course." And like, give me just 1 second to roll something right quick.
He starts crying. No.
He stutters over his words, and he says, "Yes, of course, my lady. We'll take care of it." He says, that's just let's just go. We have business to attend to. We have to take care of matters. And he'll start to walk away from her.
As that goes on, Buru will just smile and say, "As I promised," and he'll cast Conjure Animals and just make a shit ton of rabbits appear on the ground.
She'll
By a shit ton, it says 8 for challenge beast, a quarter.
okay. Yeah,
The
sure.
rabbits are at 0, so it's
Oh, so it's not like a lot.
like 10. 10
Probably.
sound good?
Yeah, 10 sounds
Okay,
good.
I'll summon 10 rabbits. It's like, I'll be here for you for an hour.
She will just beam at you. She's on the floor, like, immediately playing with them. And says, "Thank you, Mr. Turtle." And she'll call after Void and say, "Be careful, little one," as he wanders closer to the door. Zerith, then, as he approaches the door, and opens it, you can see that he is crying as he walks through the door.
Unless if he says something to me, I am not going to say anything to him.
What do the others of you do?
Come on, Hawkeye.
Oh, one sec. Do you want to see a magic trick before I leave?
She'll look up to you and say, "Oh, yes, please. It'll be just like old times."
Oh. So he's gonna say, "If you hold out your hands, I can make a small light appear."
She'll immediately put out her hands and be like, Can you really?"
Of course. Moment. He's gonna act a little showmanship and say, "There be light." He's gonna cast light. Yay.
So this ball of light appears, and wait.
Fucking blinder.
So what does this do to her? Is it a ball of light in her hand, or does it
it's
just
like-
make light in the area?
It's just like a small ball of light is what I'm trying to go for. And since it got be colored as I like, it's gonna be a little pink.
That is absolutely adorable. I need to roll something though.
Oh no, did I blind her? Oh,
Oh, no.
fuck.
Shit.
She looks like thoroughly entertained for the first probably 3 or 4 seconds. And then you just see it drain from her face, and she looks at you and says, I don't know. And she just starts muttering things like, "I don't know, I couldn't help it, I don't know what to do."
Oh my god. No.
Turn off the
God,
light,
fuck.
Hawkeye. Turn off the light.
And
I turn off the light immediately.
and Void rushes back into the room, saying, "What's wrong? What happened?" And both you and both Buru and Hawkeye can see that he is trying to quickly wipe away tears before she can see them, and is rushing up to her, goodness gracious, saying, "What happened? What's going on?" And she is PTSD is a pretty accurate way to put it.
Yeah, fuck.
He rushes to her side again and tries to calm her down, but she's not being soothed out of this. She's muttering under her breath of how she remembers, she remembers. She keeps just repeating, I remember, I can't get it out of my head," sort of stuff. And Void just keeps trying to soothe her of just like, "I need you to calm down, I need you to breathe, just let the thoughts happen and slip away, don't focus on them." And she's, "Do either of y'all do anything? Does Zerith do anything?"
No, he's not going
No,
back
he's
in there.
not going back in there.
Buru will have the rabbits just kind of try and help, like soothe her, like rub against her and like fucking be like concerned rabbits for an owner.
Hawkeye is going to pull out the lyre and just play like a small tune, like something very soothing, like a lullaby almost.
Let me roll another one. Oh, okay. The rabbits don't seem to be helping that much. In fact, the fact that something is touching her seems to be disturbing her more. She doesn't get aggressive towards them, but she definitely doesn't seem appreciative of their efforts. The lyre, on the other hand, definitely does have an effect on her. I don't want to say she gets calmer because she doesn't, but she doesn't keep progressing to get worse. She does after a couple, I'd probably say probably 30 seconds to a minute of you playing this little tune for her. She calms down enough to actually speak. And she looks up at you and Buru, and she had her face buried in her hands. When she looks up to you, you just see tears streaming down her face, and she says, I remember what they did. I can see it all. It's just like, my sister was so happy. She was just a little kid. I was supposed to protect her. And I failed. Void will try to shush her, but she just keeps talking. And she continues and says, but that monster took her from me. That monster took her and turned her into a puppet. Just a shadow of what she was. Will you save her?
Of course.
I promise.
We are heroes, so heroes defeat the monster. And we save people.
She'll at that point, after saying that, she doesn't look soothed, but both of you get the feeling that, like, your words definitely did help. At least in the regards of this sister she's talking about. At that point, she just goes back to muttering, but she seems more stable. Void pats her on the head and says, I'll send someone in to care for you. He says, but I really must be going. And he will get up from his crouched position next to her and grab both of you by the nearest thing on your, like, body that he can grab and drag you out of the room. Once in the hallway, do y'all say anything immediately, or do y'all just remain silent?
Can I say something?
Yeah, any of y'all can say something. I'm just wanting to know before I transition to the other map.
I'm going to look at
Yeah, you
Sorry.
can. Just let Zerith speak first, and then you can say what you're going to.
Okay.
I want to look at Void, and is he still very clearly disturbed?
He is still, now that he's out of her sight, he is, like, crying. He's not trying to hide it from you either. He's kind of just standing. Think. He's not trying to hide it from you because he's so far into just, like, this dissociative state that he's just not registering that any of you are there.
Is Obelix there at all?
You could probably see his aura but he is not physically standing above him like he was earlier.
I'm going to say towards Void. I'm starting to get the picture the longer I hang around here, and the more I see you and the people you interact. You don't have to fill me in on it, but if you need to talk, and if you need aid, I'm willing to offer it since you're offering it to us as well.
So you offered aid to both of them, correct? That's what you said?
To wait,
To Void and Obelix, you said?
Yeah, no, like I'm just talking to like the body, like whoever is like mostly there. Like if they're both there, then yeah, then I'm
Okay.
offering it to both of them. I feel like they're kind of a combo package.
Kind of.
Like if I'm offering help to
One, then you're offering it to both. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Before he responds, Sabrina, what were you gonna say?
I'd like to hug Boyd and speak to everybody and say something along the lines of, it's no one's fault that she got triggered, and we've all been through things, and she just happened to not get over it. So I would like no one to take it personally and feel like they are at fault for her emotional outbursts just now. We must all be okay, or at least try to be.
I'm gonna look towards. I'm gonna back you up on that, and I'm gonna look towards Hawkeye and say, I agree. I don't understand exactly what happened, but don't blame yourself for upsetting the child. You were merely trying to help. I'm sure one day they will see that as well.
Hawkeye's just gonna say, no one that sweet and innocent should suffer that much.
Buru, is gonna look to Void and is gonna ask, her sister, is it consort?
The current consort.
Yeah.
Yes. There's much that you don't know, and much of it is very confusing. I suppose, since she already spilt it to you, I may as well explain it all.
I don't feel a corridor is the best place to do that. Let's find over somewhere where we can sit down and relax.
He'll nod and agree and say, yes, I will be discussing names I do not wish for her to hear. He will take you back to the war room and dismiss all the other scholars.
GG Hawkeye. Fucking GG Hawkeye. I don't blame you, because legit I had the idea of like when she was getting upset to like use I have a cantrip called Dancing Lights, and I was gonna use them to like make them like multicolored and like kind of like fucking
Like rainbow, cute, entertaining.
yeah. And then you did that thing with lights, and I'm just like, well, it's a good thing I didn't do that. It's a good thing she hated me from the get-go.
I'm just like, well, I'm crying. Thanks. This is gonna rip my heart out, and now Hawkeye has something to fight for.
Hey, you want to see a magic trick? It's PTSD.
Ah!
I turned this innocent girl into a trigger.
Goodness
Oh, this
gracious,
is-
I hate it. Oh.
This
Okay.
is giving me strong like Eri and Izuku vibes, so it's
Oh my god.
Yes, I'm going to put a smile on that face. We're gonna beat some Yakuza in.
Dude, we need to have the whole fucking school festival arc.
Oh no. Void will sit at his desk like a normal fucking human being. But since I have the grid on, I don't think I can get him to sit there, so he's gonna sit here. So he's gonna sit at his
Sitting on
desk.
the edge.
Yeah, something like that. But he's gonna huh?
Sorry.
He's gonna sit on like the actual chair of the desk instead of the desk, and put his hands in his face. As there you go, that works. Okay, thank you. And he'll just say, "It started a long time ago. The coup happened several hundred years ago. I say several, a couple. It was a couple years, couple
I thought
hundred,
it was
100 years, something like that.
I thought it was 100 exactly.
I didn't look at that note specifically because I was gone when I had, yeah. So, no, you're good. You're good. No. Please call me out if I given misinformation. The coup happened about 100 years ago. There was the queen and the consort. They're rightfully, confusingly so, known as the same names as the current queen and consort. I'll call them the originals for clarity's sake. The originals were, well, the rulers. They were the queen and the consort. I am their son. I'll explain how that's possible later. Let me just finish the story first. I was their son, and we were living happily. The current consort was the original's sister. The original consort's sister. Her little sister. Both the original queen and consort found out what Asterix was doing to the people. What she was doing to your people. And she motions to Hawkeye. So they figured it out and decided they would not support something like that. But they found out very quickly how little power and option they had in the endeavor. The queen was slain by Asterix herself. And the consort, well, you can see her state. She wasn't always like that. She was traumatized to the point where she lost most of her memory, except for when it comes back to her in bouts like that. And I can promise you within a day she won't even remember. I lost both of my mothers. I lost my kingdom. I lost my pride. And then an even bigger blow was dealt when Asterix, for lack of a better way to state, took over the current consort. And that is how she came into power. She's being puppeted, paraded around as a prize, a constant reminder to any of us who actually remember that Asterix is not someone to challenge. Asterix is the ultimate threat to our entire society.
So that the consort, the current one, is really just Asterix. She's
It's
that.
no, the way it was meant to be explained is that Asterix is controlling her. Yeah, like directly controlling. It's up to you if you want to speculate that Asterix is like inside of her, like possessing her, but that is pure speculation unless you ask him directly.
I can know. Zerith speaks up. He's going to say, I can verify this. I witnessed it myself when we were at that ball. That woman chant. I assumed, like what you just said, I assumed that she was Asterix. That Asterix had somehow possessed the body of one of her subjects. From what he says it's referring to
Yep.
Void. That woman is still very much alive. Her body's just been overtaken. Meaning I would have killed an innocent person.
That is a fair assumption.
Zerith is just gonna like kind of not really break down, but like you guys can see him just grow really uneasy, and he starts just like staring at his hand. He's like, he just mutters to himself how his entire goal is to save all these people, but he let his rage get to him so easily and so quickly that he almost took the life of somebody who had nothing to do with it. He's no better than Alex.
Do you say that out loud?
Yeah, he would just mutter to himself, "Is like, I'm no better than that devil."
Hawkeye's gonna put a hand on his shoulder and say, "You will be. Redemption takes a long time. Sometimes you just have to take it step by step."
Now that you have heard this information and learned that Asterix holds more power than you probably imagined she did, do you still wish to incite your war?
I look up to him, and I look over to Hawkeye, and I look over to Buru, and then I look down at the ground, and I contemplate for just a moment, and then I look up to him and I say, if I don't, everybody who I led to their own death died for. I don't want to do this. I don't want to fight in a war. I don't want to even continue at this point. But if I give up and if I die, then there's no redemption for anybody. There's no redemption for the thousands of souls that I owe everything. So yes, I do want to continue. And I want to see that bitch hung.
You see Obelix at that point emerge and say, "I would gladly wring her neck."
I think we have an agreement.
He'll pull out a map and say, "This is a map of the Wildlands. You may take it and do with it what you will. I will warn you that if I find out that you have betrayed us in any way, shape, or form, no matter which one of you it is, no matter if you're acting together or alone, I will find you and I will kill you all without mercy or sympathy. My people are safe in isolation. I am risking everything for the chance that I might return to the rest of my people and save them from this witch, so that Obelisk might take his place, and so that I might take mine."
Gladly. And I'll take the map from him. Next time you see me, I'll have every single damn of your. That. Next time you see me, I'll have every single one of your leaders following me. And Zerith is gonna storm off. We go find Sanzel. Ah, my boy. Where are you?
The rest of you.
Sanzel, we're starting a war. I hope you're okay with that.
Hawkeye's just gonna nod at him, just like, I give you my word that we'll do everything in our power to help you succeed. And he's kind of speaking to both Void and Obelix about this.
Fair enough. Both of them will nod and say thank you. Before you walk off, Void specifically will say, we have scouts on the smuggling trails. I'll make sure to keep an eye out for anyone who might remotely look related to you. I'll tell my scouts to pay special attention to them if any of the rest of your family is captured.
Thank you. I greatly appreciate that. And then he's just gonna walk off going, Sanzel, war!
Buru.
Buru's gonna say, for taking in my people, I will aid them and you any way I can. And as I've promised your mother, I'll try and get her sister back.
He'll smile and say, You are kind. I appreciate that.
I try. Tell Tor to get my things that I've left at home, if you would, when you send your people to collect them.
He'll write it down on a piece of paper and say, I'll make sure whatever scouts I send take this with them.
Appreciate it. Good day.
Fair enough. Just for like ending the session's sake, because this is the end of my notes.
Yeah.
He will have that healer that was healing Sanzel take all four of you to quarters for you to stay. They're quite luxurious, really, and y'all will all stay in the same room, but it's rather spacious. And you're given refuge. And a day passes, and Sanzel still stays asleep. 3 days. 5 days.
Oh,
7
God.
days. At this point, Void is terrified. He has told you, because rightfully so, I would assume y'all would cry out to him, an outcry of just like, what the fuck, man? Like,
Yeah, like you told us.
Hawkeye would be a little more controlled, saying, this is not normal. I don't know what kind of poison you use, but it's obviously not the right effect that you wanted.
yeah, Void at this point would say, it's not supposed to last this long. It's never lasted this long. At this point, it's been about, I'd say about 10 days that Sanzel has been under. And you'll confront him in your room in front of Sanzel. And Void is looking down at him, trying to examine him, figure out something that's wrong. And Void at this point hasn't touched him. He's just been looking at him. Void reaches down and touches him, and you see almost like Obelisk flares out of his body, almost like he's been thrown backwards out of Void. And Obelisk just growls under his breath, that damned bitch. And that's where the session's gonna end.
What? Jason, my boy!
Well, would say like every day that passed, just Buru would like poke him with the quarterstaff.
Literally on the edge of
Wake
my
up.
seat. And you just,
Oh my god.
Dude,
My boy.
I really want like, can Zerith just go slap Sanzel a few times and see if he can get a little bit of that? Like, I mean, he's got asterisks. He's got asterisks. Let's Zerith just take some anger out on him. You know, just a little slappy. You know.
I mean, you can next session.
Hey, Sanzel. Do I have advantage because he's unconscious? Yes. Hey!
Oh my god,
Killed
this
him.
is funny.
Go and show me how much. Yeah. Just this is all a joke, by the way. You skewer through the heart and he dies. It's just like
Hawkeye's gonna be like, he's gonna whip him awake like, Sanzel, get the fuck up, and just use the soul snap on him.
oh my gosh, y'all are gonna beat him to death.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
What's that one meme from
Don't even like
JoJo
him
where
anyway.
two people are just stomping on the guy? On the ground?
I know what you're talking about. Hold on, let me find the gif.
Who's that third dude who just joins it after?
Oh, that's fucking
Yeah,
Abacchio, just going like fucking.
I may as well. Everyone else is doing it. So this is what the kids do for fun nowadays.
I suppose this is the new way to do things.
Goodness gracious.
And then, bonus action, he's just gonna punch him. It's like,
Yeah.
I hope y'all know I'm not deleting this chat so I can specifically show Sanzel what the hell y'all are doing on his body. And the most hilarious thing is y'all can beat him within an inch of his life, and all Buru has to do is good bury him back to health. Y'all can literally
I mean, I
repeatedly
have-
beat the
berries for you.
ever living shit out of this man, and then just be like, "Have a berry, friend."
I have cure wounds. I can be like, oh, I kicked his shit in, but I can just heal him up.
That's fair. You were saying something, Sabrina?
no, just like you get a berry and you get a berry.
And you get a berry. How about you, my fine sir? It's great. So, how reactions, comments, concerns, outrage?
Lots of concern, gotta say.
I triggered a child. Fuck me.
No,
I cried.
Yeah.
Oh,
she was in her late 20s, early 30s, so technically not a child.
Isn't she
true,
over
but
100,
I'm 45, but it's weird.
Yeah,
That lady's over 100.
yeah, she is.
Yeah.
Oh,
not a
well,
child. She just looks like one.
Hawkeye doesn't. That's a child, like.
It looks like a child. It acts like a child. It's a child.
Right, he's in dad mode. He's like trying to make sure she's okay.
Lots of dead moments
Triggered.
with, Hawkeye today.
Fuck.
It's okay. It happens to the best of us. Technically, Zerith triggered her first, so.
Yeah.
Uh,
Buru gave her rabbits for an hour.
Yes, and you bet that after y'all left, she probably went back to playing with them like nothing happened.
my god, it was such a good session. I'm like, oh my god.
I'm glad you liked it. It was a lot of lore, and I was really scared y'all were gonna get really bored.
Nope. I was into it.
That's
Oh
good.
my god.
That's really good. That makes me really happy.
Oh.
My first conjure animals was the conjure rabbits.
That's just adorable.
Fucking. I was trying to find fucking rat turtle picture, and it came up with armadillo. I'm like, wait, what the fuck?
Wrong, but what the fuck?
Goodness gracious.
No, I'm just imagining this armadillo breaking out of prison.
I hate it. I love it and I hate it at the same time.
Oh my
A
gosh.
rat turtle. Google's like, yes, I know what this is. Armadillo.
And it was just like,
yeah.
I know what you're asking me.
Yeah.
it's like, oh, what? Rat plus armadillo, rat plus turtle equals armadillo.
Yeah.
Google's like, I know some of these words.